Buenos dias, Zamboangueño y Zamboangueña. Buenos dias!
So we are the Group 1 and we were given a task to discover one of the beautiful cultural heritage here in Zamboanga City.
Zamboanga City has a bursting charm that attracts many travelers situated in southern Mindanao. This place has a magnificent visual feast of culture, history, tradition, and local delicacies. The province's historical attraction and locals' colorful identities, such as positive, accommodating, and full of hope, contribute to the beauty of Zamboanga City, or very well known as the Asian Stacking Museum.
And now, let me ask you this. Do you know what it is? If not, come on and join us to witness and discover what it is. Come on.
And now, here we are at the Metropolitan Cathedral of Immaculate Conception, one of the biggest cathedral in this region. So, are you guys ready? Because we are about to witness the inside of the cathedral. Come and join me.
The Metropolitan Cathedral of Immaculate Conception of Zamboanga City, one of the most historical landmark here in Zamboanga. It is located at La Purisima Street, beside SM Minepro. The first church was originally located at the front of Plaza Pershing, where the present Universidad de Zamboanga stands. The church was designated a cathedral in 1910 when the Diocese of Zamboanga was created. In 1943, the cathedral was one of the edifices bombarded by Japanese soldiers during World War II. In 1956, the cathedral was relocated beside Ateneo de Zamboanga University, formerly known as the Jardín de Chino. The cathedral located at the Plaza Pershing was made of wood and concrete. The image of the Immaculate Conception was located at the main altar, with two Jesuit Saints Ignatius of Loyola and Francis Xavier on each side. The image of the patroness was said to be spared from the bombs of World War II, and was transferred to a road now known as La Purisima Street. In 1956 to 1998, the former structure of the cathedral was designed in 1956. The site used to be the chapel of the Jardín de Chino. The facade consists of the life-size sculpture of Immaculate Conception at the left side, and the bell tower at right. The chapel of the saints were located inside the area where the image outside was located. The stations of the cross were made of stained glass at each side, and the added station, Resurrection, was located near the right altar at the confession area. Then the bronze relief of the Last Supper was located at the day chapel, which serves later as the Perpetual Adoration Chapel. In the 1998, the present structure of the cathedral was built in 1998 to 2002 in cruciform, of which the candle-like design is appropriate to the cathedral's patron. Inside the main church is marble statue of the Immaculate Conception designed by Philippine national artist for sculpture Napoleon Abueva. Along the aisles are the stained glass symbolic images of all dioceses in Mindanao from 1910 to 1984. The day chapel at the ground floor is used for weekday masses. Fronting the day chapel is the baptistry with the relic of Our Lady of the Pillar, the patroness of the city. Behind the day chapel is Thecum Lumbarium, a replica of Michelangelo's Piet, and the stained glass images of the 12 apostles around it. The left wing houses the parish office and the adoration chapel, while the convention hall is located in the right wing. The original statue of the Immaculate Conception, which was placed in the main altar of the old church, can be seen at the parish office. The new structure of the cathedral was designed by Ibarro and Associates through the efforts of former Monsignor Artesier Crisanto de la Cruz, who said that the decay of the old cathedral's ceiling damaged by termites was one of the reasons why the reconstruction should take place. The design of the new cathedral was unveiled in December 1997. The old structure had been demolished a day after Easter in 1998, preserving its stained glass window and sculpture from the facade, which respectively are located at the rear portion of the new church and at the left side. The cathedral was solemnly dedicated on December 6, 1999, with Archbishop Ricardo Cardinal Vidal of Cebu and President Joseph Estrada Ejercito as guests of honor. The day chapel, columbarium, baptistry, the multi-purpose hall, and office were constructed in 2002. A more recent addition to the cathedral is the Century Bell Tower, which broke ground on the Feast of the Immaculate Conception in 2010. This belfry, located at the Ateneo side of the cathedral, marked the 100th anniversary of the Archdiocese of Zamboanga. From 1607 to 1910, the entire island of Mindanao was under the Diocese of Cebu and Yaro. On April 10, 1910, Pope Pius X created the Diocese of Zamboanga and gave it jurisdiction over the whole island of Mindanao, including the adjacent islands of the Sulu archipelago and the island of Cagayan de Sulu. The faith first came to Zamboanga in 1635 with the arrival of the first missionaries, Father Melchor de Vera and Father Alejandro Lopez, both Jesuits. The Spanish authorities were always at war with the Muslims then. Their efforts to subdue the Muslims always resulted in reprisal raids in Zamboanga and the Visayan Islands. In Zamboanga, Fort Pilar, in honor of Our Lady of the Pillar, was constructed in 1636. Two Jesuits priests died as martyrs in their efforts to win the Muslims through diplomacy: Father Francisco Paliola and Father Alejandro Lopez. On January 20, 1933, Pope Pius X divided the Mindanao area into the whole southern portion, including the Sulu archipelago, under the jurisdiction of Zamboanga, and the northern portion under the Diocese of Cagayan de Oro. In 1951, Cagayan de Oro was elevated to an archdiocese, the first in the island of Mindanao, and all episcopal jurisdictions in Mindanao and Sulu, including that of Zamboanga, became suffragans of this archdiocese. The Diocese of Zamboanga was further divided when the Diocese of Davao was established and separated in 1949. The Prelature of Cotabato in 1950, the Prelature of Isabela, Basilan, in 1967, and finally the Prelature of Ipil in 1980. Zamboanga was raised to an archdiocese on May 15, 1958 by Pope Pius XII. As an ecclesiastical province, the Archdiocese of Zamboanga now comprises the city of Zamboanga and part of the province of Zamboanga del Sur. As suffragans it has the Prelature of Ipil, also in Zamboanga del Sur, the Prelature of Isabela, Basilan, and the Apostolic Vicariate of Jolo. Its titular patronieses is Our Lady of the Pillar, and its secondary patron is St. Pius X, Pope. The Second Plenary Council of the Philippines adopted the community of disciples as the prime model of the church, with the special attribute of being a church of the poor. For the church in Zamboanga, the challenge is to incarnate in the archdiocese the vision of PCP2. The evolution of the name Zamboanga provides an interesting insight into its historical background. The early Malay settlers called the region Jambangan, which means land of the flowers. These Malays who built their settlements by the river banks were the Subanans, that is the people of the river. Their chief, Saragan, lived with his family atop the legendary Mount Pulambeto that today lords over Pasananca and Climaco Freedom Park, formerly Abong Park, then later on. The Samals and the Bados who came on their frail Vintas also settled here, building their frail huts along the shorelines and confused Jambangan with Samboangan, which comes from the word Sabuan, the wooden pole used to help push their Vintas in shallow waters or to tie them for anchorage purposes. The Spanish colonizers found difficulty in pronouncing Samboangan and instead called the place Zamboanga. It was in 1569 when the Spaniards made their presence felt with a small Catholic mission established briefly at La Caldera, now known as Recodo. In 1899, immediately after the Spanish-American War in the Philippines, the United States of America established full authority in Zamboanga. A special form of government was established in Mindanao and Sulu, the first form of which was the Moro Province, and during the 12 years of its existence, the American military government in the Philippines converted Zamboanga into a city in the commission form. The American military government in the Philippines converted Zamboanga into a city in the commission form, the first province of Mindanao to become a city. However, the government of the Moro province was abolished to give way to a new form of government, the Department of Mindanao and Sulu. This form of government entrusted to the Filipino residents of Zamboanga practically all positions in government. The Commonwealth of the Philippines on 1936 declared Zamboanga a charter city. Progress and development in Zamboanga continued, and in 1983, the Minister Interior Jose Ru proclaimed Zamboanga City a highly urbanized city.